It's more than a jumper. It's a tradition, a legacy.
It crosses our hearts and unites us all, and now more than ever.
It's time to don the sash.
BJ, we want to talk footy, but first of all, it's a bit hard with you guys.
Out of the room.
Yesterday, the players' reaction to what happened, we understand that the players, the leadership group were involved in saying to Hurdy, we want you, let's just keep it quiet. Can you give us your thoughts on how that actually happened?
Yeah, as mentioned this morning, we met yesterday and had a discussion about it. I think it's important we did and talked about how the players are feeling and stuff, and generally we were feeling pretty good. But yeah, it was just more so that we don't need or want any more distractions, although we've dealt with a lot in the past. I think last week and in particular this week hasn't had a huge bearing on how we prepare and how we're going to play. But I think from a footy club's perspective and players, it would be good that, somewhat be forgotten about and we move on from it.
Was that communicated, BJ, to Hurdy himself? Like, for example, did Joe pass on that message, or was there communication with James yesterday on that topic?
I'm not sure what Job said, but I think the message has been passed on to Hurdy. I think generally as a footy club and as a playing group, and obviously from a footy club's perspective, it was discussed with him and Tanya yesterday, but from a player's point of view, I think Hurdy's across how the players are feeling, and he's welcomed that feedback, and I guess he's ready to move on from what he's told us as players.
Are you confident that that's going to be possible after everything that's happened, that we won't have to think and talk about this too much more?
I think so, based on yesterday and what the board of the parameters, and I guess so they're not so much rules around it, but the discussions they had with the herds yesterday, in particular Tanya and James, but the discussions they had yesterday, I would have thought that it would be easy to move on now, yeah.
On tomorrow night's game, you guys must be happy that Lance Franklin's no longer in the Hawks forward line.
Yeah, I think we all are, but saying that they obviously found ways to kick or find more goal kickers other than him. So whenever you play Hawthorn, regardless who's on the field, you know it's going to be a tough game. And rightly so, they've been a top team for the last 3 or 4 years now. So yeah, we're looking forward to the challenge. It's only round 2, but there's a solid performance round 1.
Thompson and you as an opposition coach, obviously 2009. BJ, what's the reality of him? So you've had a perception of him outside, but what sort of coach is he for you?
Oh, for me, it's been talked about before, but he's been terrific. He's obviously had his distractions last year, and me personally, my first year at the footy club, so I didn't get to see the real Bomber Thompson. But since the time he made the decision to coach this year, he's been absolutely outstanding, and he's doing a terrific job. The boys feel really comfortable around him, although at times, or he does keep you at arm's length a lot of the time. But he's been terrific.
When you say the real Bomber Thompson, describe that. What is the real Bomber Thompson?
Oh, well, he's quite intense. He's a caring person at the same time. As I said, he likes to keep you on your toes and at arm's length a lot of the time. But he's very caring. He obviously understands his footy. He's very vocal at training, which I like, and I think is the best way to teach guys and enhance their development. So he's in terms of his footy stuff, he's clearly an outstanding coach and loves his footy. And but the other side of it that a lot of people don't get to see, his caring side and these interests he takes in guys' personal life, off the field and away from footy.
Have you noticed any difference in the feel around the club? There's more surety here this year than there was last year.
Oh, well, I think that's natural based on the circumstances last year. So
training's different at all?
No, training last year was outstanding. And I thought our performance last year was outstanding considering the circumstances. So clearly there's a weight off the shoulders from everyone, not from the players' perspective, but I think from the footy club you can say that. So obviously there's a different feeling than what there is last year, just based on the circumstances.
What's the feeling like for you, obviously not being here in 2012? How does it affect you as opposed to the other boys? Do you see them hurting more and taking it more on board than what you do, or is it all in?
Probably last year, but indirectly I was affected by what happened last year, and I have a feeling towards the players and see what they're going through, in particular last year. But this year is a different kettle of fish. It's you can definitely, as I mentioned before, weight being lifted off a lot of the boys' shoulders, and they've been able to focus on their preparation without the distraction of what was going on last year.
When you found out Paul Chapman was going to join the club, what was your reaction?
I was excited. He's spoiled my party or the St Kilda's party a few times, so I've been on the other end of it. But yeah, he's still, if he keeps fit, he's ticked all the boxes in pre-season, which has been really impressive. He's been somewhat on the old man's program, but that's just more maintenance for him. But he knows what he needs to do for his body to get through a season. So if he can stay fit, you've clearly seen, although it is round one, but you clearly know and you've seen what he can and what he's capable of doing.
I saw your young boys on the weekend play really well. Paddy was particularly good. What happens now, though? They're up against the Hawks, the bigger bodies, the more experience you expect.
Well, it's just another game of footy, although Hawthorn are a better performed team, a more consistent team, but we talked about it before training yesterday in one of our meetings. It's just another game of footy, although the opposition has been better in the past, but they're just expected to do the same things as what they did last week. They're expected to play their role, and for us as senior players, it was great just to see them go out there and they didn't have to do anything special. I know we talk about it with young players, but some young players feel like they have to do something special to be noticed or contribute to the team. But just for them to do the simple things and do them well, that was the most pleasing for us as senior players, and I think the coaches as well.
What do you make of?
Just on the umpiring, I know it's only been 1 week, but have you noticed a kind of more concerted effort from the umpires to let the game go a bit more? Free kicks and stuff?
No, not really. I think the latter part of last year, I think I made a comment on Twitter that the umpiring was noticeably different, and for us as players, it was better. But round one, I'm not sure. I didn't really notice round one. I didn't watch a hell of a lot of footy, to be honest, but in particular our game, I think there was passages of play where they let it roll on, which I probably thought during the game, but overall I don't think I've noticed anything too different.
The rivalry with the Hawks, obviously you got to experience it last year.
Yeah.
But how does it feel being at a club like this against a club like them?
Yeah, well, it's a rich history that runs pretty deep, but I think from supporters' point of view, it's a pretty heavy rivalry, and as players I think we've got a rivalry with every team we run out against, but in terms of the two clubs and their history, it's a pretty big rivalry, yeah, you could say that.